President Trump announcing that more troops will be going to Afghanistan. This is a major shift from his position before taking office, when he felt the U.S. should immediately get out of Afghanistan. So how do the president's most passionate supporters feel about this change and other recent news events? I sat down with a group of Trump voters from Florida, Pennsylvania, Michigan, Alabama, and Georgia, some of whom even volunteered for his campaign, to see how they feel today and to get the pulse of the people. The president is going to increase troop levels in Afghanistan. Show of hands, who's comfortable with that? Everybody would like to see troop levels go up in Afghanistan. Tell me why, Bobby.
I think it's a serious problem that we've kind of not taken that seriously in the last 8 years of Obama. And this is what he said he was going to do, that he was going to.
But no, he didn't. When President Obama was increasing troop levels, President Trump, then Donald Trump, tweeted, we should get out. This is silly. We should rebuild the U.S. We should leave Afghanistan immediately. We have wasted an enormous amount of blood and treasure in Afghanistan. He wanted to get out.
And how many generals did he talk to before he tweeted that?
None. Now he's
was that immature?
Now he's a dynamic president.
Go ahead, Ollie.
He didn't have the information at that time.
Why is he tweeting about it?
Why is he tweeting about it?
Every other American tweeted.
Because he can.
Yeah.
So then he didn't know what he was talking about.
No.
He did not have the
facts.
He didn't have the information he has today, which is completely different.
We have generals, we have military experts, we have to trust what they say.
Had Obama listened to that to them in Iraq, we may not be here with ISIS.
President Obama had way more troops over there.
And Donald Trump at the time didn't like that.
Yeah, but he's trying to end it.
Still doesn't.
Them generals said, send 4,000 over there, and we're going to try and end it.
And don't you think that President Obama was trying to end it?
No.
He pulled out.
No.
Too soon. He pulled out too soon.
But President Obama had a surge as well.
Right.
So he was trying to do the right thing as well.
He surged Afghanistan?
Yes. 2011. So now President Trump will be trying a surge.
And you had a lot of military people saying that Obama didn't listen to them. That he was telling, that they were talking to him, and he was just ignoring
Different
what they said.
commanders-in-chief.
You have a lot of military generals and people that came out saying that he was not paying attention to.
I understand. I'm just trying to understand the consistency of it's bad when President Obama does it. It's good when President Trump does it.
It's only
can't say that.
We have generals, we have military experts. We have to trust what they say.
They know what.
And if they're telling us this is the
They're
best
advising
thing,
our president, and we're behind all of it.
Okay, North Korea. Go ahead. Tell us what's funny.
Kaboom! What are we waiting for? No. I like the way he's handling North Korea.
And how is he handling it? Describe
Tough. He has to be tough because he's dealing with craziness. And I think as commander-in-chief that he's been a lot more disciplined. If he can do that everywhere else.
And, you know, it's almost chilling. There was a video of President Trump being interviewed, then a civilian, then Donald Trump, in 1999. And he was asked about North Korea. And he said, what are we going to do? Wait for them to have missiles pointed at us before we act, before we do anything?
Boy.
And look at the situation now. Look where their nuclear program has escalated to. And so I think that Kim Jong-un has run around unchecked in that part of the world for a long time.
Some people you hear talking about President Trump's mental instability. Congresswoman Jackie Speier, let me read to you her tweet. The president is showing signs of erratic behavior and mental instability that place the country in grave danger. Time to invoke the 25th Amendment.
Whatever.
She's looking for her own 15 minutes.
Whatever.
She is.
President Trump is smarter than anybody in this room.
Amen.
He has made millions of dollars. He knows what he's doing. And for her to think he's mentally, what in the world? Why would you think that guy's mental? He ain't mental. You know, we had two choices, Hillary and him. And if Hillary was the president right now, what do you think would be going on in North Korea? What do you think the stock market would be doing?
What do you think would be going on in North Korea?
North Korea, that guy would probably have already done something. I know the stock market wouldn't have gone up.
Trump is the world's biggest troll. Everybody falls for it every day, hook, line, and sinker.
Yeah.
He loves controlling the narrative, you know? He's turned into Trump is public enemy number one. Let's be honest, okay? Republicans hate him and Democrats hate him. You know why they hate him? Because he threatens their existence.
Again, but how is this helpful to the country?
The swamp
Because that's for the media. That's for the media to chew on and make everybody go hysterical while he's there actually getting things done.
I don't find his Twitter productive, to be honest. I think it draws away from what could be a really positive message coming out of his administration. They have accomplished so much in terms of the economy. You know, the stock market's up around 18%. Unemployment's down to around 4.2%, which is the lowest since 2002, nearly 20 years. I wish he would tone down the Twitter Twitter a little bit so we could focus on what his administration is accomplishing.
Robert, what do you think?
Twitter is an effective means for him to communicate directly with all of his supporters, bypassing the media, getting his message directly out.
What about the Republicans, like Senator Tim Scott, like people who are now speaking out saying that they think that the president sort of doesn't have the stability, the moral authority, is what Senator Tim Scott said, to be a leader?
They think if they do this now, that they'll get reelected if you don't know the truth. That's why I voted for Trump. I'm for business. And they bring this stuff up, civil rights. Man, I went through civil rights in the 60s in Alabama. This ain't nothing. You know, they got 100, 200 people up there, and everybody's blowing it up. And those people don't represent Trump. No. And one of them don't represent Hillary.
And if Hillary was president, there would still be protesting the taking down of the statue. There would still be white supremacists out there. And there would still be Nazis. You know what? For 8 years, we heard Obama say that we can't refer to terrorists as Islamic radical terrorists because it empowers them and increases their numbers. But for 8 months, I've heard the left call Trump supporters white supremacists and Nazis with no fear at all that's going to increase their numbers or empower them.
But the analogy there is that if President Trump was so angry that President Obama wouldn't call it for what President Trump thought it was, radical Islamic terror, why didn't he immediately call out neo-Nazis? Why didn't he call it what it is?
If saying radical Islamic terrorist empowers the terrorists and increase their numbers, then why calling us white supremacists and Nazis doesn't increase their numbers or empower them?
How do you know it doesn't empower them?
Well, obviously, then why don't you stop saying it?
Exactly.
Because you don't want them to grow and empower.
Exactly.
Your logic, hold on, your circular logic is confusing. If President Trump wants evil to be called out, why didn't he call neo-Nazis by name at first?
He didn't have all the facts.
He didn't know the facts.
Because he just came out on TV. It just happened.
So President Trump again attacked the press last night, trying to blame the media for his own controversial comments on Charlottesville. As you are about to hear, for many of his most diehard supporters, those attacks on the press are making a lasting impression. On Monday, I sat down with a group of Trump voters from Florida, Pennsylvania, Michigan, Alabama, and Georgia to get their take. And they have very strong opinions about who was to blame for violence in Charlottesville and where they go to get their information. How many of you, show of hands, were troubled by the president's response to the violence in Charlottesville? None of you minded how President Trump responded.
No.
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 I didn't see anything wrong with it. I mean, he addressed the problem. I mean, let's face the reality. There are problems on both sides.
Do you think that neo-Nazis and white supremacists are the same as those who are protesting them?
I think it's ridiculous to have me choose between Hitler and Stalin, which is what I consider both groups are.
And why are the people who turned out to protest Nazis, why are they Stalin to you?
The Antifa group to me is totally a very Stalinish kind of group.
How so?
If you're willing to set fires and burn places to the ground, that doesn't sound like a very peaceful group to me.
But
they're both the same evil.
They didn't use those tactics in Charlottesville.
So then I blame the government.
Why do you blame the governor or the government for a white supremacist mowing down a crowd of people and killing someone?
Because they didn't protect the people that day.
The people who were marching with the signs, do you see them as neo-Nazis and white supremacists?
I mean, it hasn't been investigated, so we really don't know who was out there. But I'm telling you, I've seen videos of other people who were out there who were not neo-Nazis.
You believe that there were very fine people protesting?
Yes, I do.
How do you know that?
I'm only telling you from videos that I've seen that people.
But what's the source of your videos? Where are you seeing them?
Facebook. And then when I tried to repost those videos, they wouldn't allow me.
Is it possible they're not credible?
Could be. But like I said, they need to investigate and find out exactly what was going on out there.
Vice did an investigation of the people who went there with a purpose to march for neo-Nazis. So let me just play a clip. So blood and soil was a Nazi slogan, and you heard them saying, Jews will not replace us. Is it possible that very fine people were in that crowd?
Not in that crew. Nope. But those crazy, I don't know what else to call them. I probably can't say it on TV. But they still had the right to say those crazy things.
That's the night before the clash happened. The Antifa people, the protesters, they didn't show up Friday night. They showed up Saturday. These protesters showed up the second day. They came there to do battle with them. They showed up with helmets, body armor, clubs. They showed up with balloons filled with urine.
Yeah,
and these guys showed up with semi-automatic weapons.
And that state of Virginia, open carry is legal. You can walk down the street.
It seems to me that you're giving these guys a green light. The white supremacists.
Not at all.
Why do you seem more angry at Antifa than at the neo-Nazis in the world?
I'm not more angry. It's equal. The media is not covering it. They're only focused on making neo-Nazis and white supremacists out to be Trump supporters, and they're the issue of the problem. The reality is of what Trump said is there were two sides. There were two parties that participated.
He said there was trouble on both sides. Was there not trouble on both sides? Because I saw bats on both sides.
And I'm sure you've heard the argument. There was violence on both sides of World War II also.
Yes.
But we were on the right side.
Yes.
There's a right side and a wrong side.
No, not in this case.
If there were some people in Antifa, okay, but most of them were students, including Heather Heyer, who was killed. So why aren't you...
She got killed because they didn't protect her.
Who killed her?
To be honest with you, I don't know because it hasn't been investigated yet. We haven't heard
but we
anything.
know who the suspect is.
Listen, I don't trust anything that the news media says anymore. And the fact of the matter is we haven't heard from this young man. Like, when I first heard this, me, myself, I'm going to tell you what, some stuff ran through my mind. I'm like, maybe he had a panic attack.
Why are you giving him a pass?
I'm not giving him a pass.
But why are you thinking that the white supremacist might have had a panic attack?
How can he be a supremacist of anything and he's 20 years old? He's being led. He's a
Dylan Roof. We saw this with other young white men.
They're being led
white supremacists.
They're being led by devils.
I think we're moving kind of further away from the point of what this conversation should be. What happened that day was a tragedy, and it should never have happened to begin with. No one here is supporting the neo-Nazis or the white supremacists, and that narrative is really negative. But what we are talking about is President Trump's response, and he stood in front of America and he condemned the violence that occurred that day.
You're talking about 300 or 400 people in Charlottesville.
Meaning the neo-Nazis?
Yeah. There's 60 million people voted for President Trump. Why don't we get our say? Those people aren't nothing. Y'all, Democrats have idiots, Republicans have idiots. But we're talking about us, the 60 million that's for Trump. We don't do stuff like that.
Why isn't it the easiest thing in the world for the president to say, neo-Nazis have no place in this country?
He said it Monday.
He
said it Monday. He didn't know the fact.
Because it just came out on TV. Like, it just happened.
I think a great portion of it is a conspiracy. I think it was a setup.
From whom?
From whom? I think people who want to derail our president. And there were buses coming in with lots of young people. And protesters coming off the same bus were some wearing Black Lives Matter and some wearing the KKK shirts. They were brought in to cause a controversy, right?
Where are you getting your evidence?
A lot of it on Facebook.
You saw something on Facebook?
Yes.
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 The protesters, the Antifa people, had an ad on Craigslist recruiting people for $25 an hour to show up for the protest in Charlottesville. It's all over the place. You can read the ad.
And you trust Facebook more than news organizations?
Oh, yeah.
I trust my
live
Facebook
video
friends,
from people who shot it that were present? Yeah.
You trust your Facebook feed even though you don't know the origin or the source
the people are our
things.
friends.
Even though you can't tell me the source of these videos.
I can pull them up off of Facebook and you see 30
people.
people with the same video.
Okay, let me see this. So show me what you found on your phone, the video.
I deleted it off, I'm sorry. There's videos on YouTube that are on Facebook. There are videos that if you just Google Charlotte, Virginia protesters videos, they all start popping up into the feed on Facebook.
I also have a young man who said that they saw these people, the 6 buses lined up, someone that lives in Charlottesville, that the 6 buses were lined up and people were getting off the bus with KKK shirts on and BLM shirts. I'm like, what? Now, while that may not sound credible, to a lot of people, to us who don't trust the news media, that could be very credible.